everyone come gather around it in the shade. Share the malo, may I never Ezri, may Madonna, O Sashamayim Bares, all ye take Lamoragla, all Yanu Shorecha, Hine lo Yanu, Velo Yisha. Shomer Yisrael, Adonai Shomrecha, Adonai Tzilcha Yad Yaminecha, Yomam HaShemesh Lo Yakecha, Be'yareach Balayla, Adonai Yishmorcha Mikora. Yishmor et nafshecha, Adonai, Yishmor tzedcha uvorecha, be'ata be'adonai. Psalm 121, especially on this day as we look out to the hills to our right or to our left and think about what it means to give honor to someone who spent so much of his life in Colorado. We say, I turn my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, creator of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way, and your guardian will not slumber. See, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Adonai is your guardian, your protection at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. Adonai will guard your life, your going and your coming, now and forever.
Our God and God of all generations. Thou governest all things with infinite wisdom and mercy. Guidest the destinies of all of humankind. As a parent, have you loved us and showered your blessings upon us. Therefore we shall not murmur even when sorrow befalls us, but with humility and unfaltering trust we shall accept your decrees. In joy and in sorrow alike, praise your goodness and acknowledge your justice. We remember that we are but strangers upon earth. Like a shadow, our life flees away. Help us, O God, so to walk in your sight. When the few years of our earthly pilgrimage are ended, we may be ready to meet our end with tranquil mind. To thee we look for comfort and strength. One of our beloved is taken from us, and the link is broken in the chain of love, which binds us together in family. Though we walk in the valley of the shadow of death, we will fear no evil, for you are with us. Praised, O eternal our God, in all your dispensations. Sanctified be your name. Sit together. Poet is written, birth is a beginning and death is a destination. Life itself is a journey, going or growing, stage to stage. Foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom. From weakness to strength, or from strength to weakness, and often back again. health to sickness. Back we pray to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, grief to understanding, and from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat, till looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, having made the journey stage by stage, sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, death is a destination. Life itself is a journey, sacred pilgrimage, birth to death, to life that is everlasting. Dear friends, there's probably no piece of literature used more often at moments like this than the words of the 23rd Psalm. Very often people wonder why. Why is it used? And it's a very simple matter. It says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. And for most people, that is good enough reason to include these words. I learned a long time ago when I was in rabbinical school, and that was a very long time ago. I learned a long time ago from one of my professors that King David, who was the author of the Psalms, had something very special in mind when he wrote those words. He was really speaking to family, he was speaking to mourners. He was saying to the mourners, don't get caught in the valley of the shadow of death. Too many people make a religion out of death and dying. Don't get caught there. You have to walk through the valley of the shadow of death. So we're going to call upon the cantor to chant these words and read the English. If you know some of the words, please feel free to say them with us.
יסבור לדוד, אדוני רואי, לא לחסור. ברודשה ירביצני, עמי בנוחי דלי, נפשי ישובת, ינחי במודלי צדק, למען שמו, גם כי לך בגית צמודה, לא יראה כי אתה עמדי, שבטך ומשענתך, המה ינחמוני, תערוך לפניי, שולחן בצהרי, תשענת בשמן ראשי, עושי רוויה, אך טוב החסד ירדפוני, כל ימי חיי, ושבתי ליום ימים.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. Leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. Guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. I shall dwell in the house of God. family, dear friends. There is never an easy way to come to this time and to this place. No matter how old or how young someone might be. And when one lives nearly a century of life, almost 97 years, got beat out of it by 3 weeks, but we can say he was 97. He was in his 97th year anyway. It's hard to place that into perspective. All of the things that he saw, all of the things that he experienced in his life, the goodness of humanity, the evil of humanity, raising a family, having joy in who they were and who they became, and trying his best always to provide for his 3 girls. It's not easy to come to this place. No easy way to say goodbye. But we really want, even if someone is ill, even if someone is older, this is not Mexico, even if it falls down the door. Even when a person lives as long as your dad lived, you still want one more day, one more hour, one more hug, one more embrace, because that is who we are. Even though death comes to someone like your dad, who was able to live his life to the end. Yeah, he maybe didn't remember what he had for breakfast that morning. But as you told me, he still did his puzzles every day. Important. So he still lived his life each and every day. Well, death may have come to him as a friend. So the pain often embraces the end of life. It wasn't his. Still, it's hard. Especially for the 2 of you. Makes this moment hard. Is that you've become orphaned. I know it sounds strange. You're adult women, but you're orphans. And we think about orphans as orphan. That's what we think. But when we lose that last member of that generation, we become that generation. I believe, and I say this so very often, I believe that there are a number of tasks for you to get today. 4 to be exact. Number 1 is to grieve for your loss. To shed your tears along these next days and weeks and months. Something will come to mind and it'll bring a tear, and it's okay. It's part of the process of grief. You have to grieve. And you as grandsons, you have to grieve his loss as well. Second thing you have to do is wonder. Wonder about the miracle of birth and the mystery of death. That's what we're all here for, to be honest with you. We're all grateful that we are still alive. The truth is, we are finite beings living in an infinite world. And we know intellectually that this day is going to be something that we have to face as well. What's going to happen to us? People ask me all the time, Rabbi, what's going to happen when I die? I say, I have 2 answers for that. Number 1, I really don't know because I have not been there. And number 2, I am not anxious to find out. And while that may seem funny, it's true. But we each have different points of view about what may happen to us. And our task being here today is, yes, to wonder about the mystery, but to live by what it is that we believe. And we may all believe something a little bit different. It's okay. There's not one set of beliefs. Another professor of mine said, that all religion is a response to the fact that we are finite beings living in an infinite world. Every religion wonders. Third task is to remember who he was in our lives. I said to you yesterday or the day before, I heard that he had died. I said, I loved your parents. It was not one. They were a partnership in everything they did. I loved your parents. They were always so kind and so loyal to us as rabbis of the congregation or cantors of the congregation. They were loyal to this congregation. They always wanted the best for everybody. That's who they were. I remember that. Lastly, task, especially for you two guys, because you're the next generation, is to pass on who he was in his highest moments of living. Not what you thought he was, but you knew. Because the way in which he tried to live in his highest moments is something worth passing on to another generation. And all of us, we're here, yes, to express our condolences to the family. And they appreciate that. But we're here also to learn about how a person like him made life just a little bit better by his presence. Not a whole lot. He wasn't a big politician. He wasn't a wealthy man who spread his wealth around so that people could. He was a simple guy. I don't mean simples in that way. He was a simple guy. He was a humble guy. He cared about what was going on in his life. He was a friend to many, but he was a friend to many who are already gone. They didn't know, many of you didn't know who he was. And he was 12. I never knew that until yesterday. And I've known him a long time. I didn't know that he was called 12. Okay. And you didn't know why he was called 12. That would be the interesting thing to find out. So you're here to remember him, to remember this independent person, he and his beloved wife of all those 65 years, living by themselves with your help. I know people don't live to 97 in their own home, but you guys made it happen. Just like he made things happen for you as best he could. You made life better for them as best you could. He had some wonderful, enduring traits that we should all learn from. He was humble. He understood who he was. He was kind. He had the love for the West Side. As everybody I've learned over 54 years we've been here, everybody who was raised on the West Side had a love for it. But there's one thing you didn't know. Every family on the West Side was in the grocery business. It's always true. Everybody said, my grandfather was a grocer on the West Side on West Colfax. And he was. He was a first generation American Jew. So I'm going to say a word about that for a moment. You know, his parents and grandparents came here from Eastern Europe. Why? They came here. Some people thought they came here because the streets were paved with gold. That's not true. That's not true at all. They came here because this was a place they could live in freedom. This is a place where they could live without the vandalism of the Cossacks or those who unleashed pogroms on our people in Eastern Europe. And before they left Eastern Europe, they all went to the cemeteries. Why? Because they knew that they were leaving, and they were leaving the generations from the past, 1,000 years or more, They were leaving them there. But they came here. And what did your grandparents and your great-grandparents bequeath to your father? He had a responsibility to secure that freedom for the next generation. We wouldn't be here right now if he didn't do that. However hard it might have been for him, for your mom. Their job was to secure it for the next generation. And your job is to make sure that we don't forget who our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents were. That's what our job was. We're not here so long. We didn't come with the Mayflower. I know that. I'm also a second-generation American Jew. My father and mother were both first Americans, first-generation Americans. I understand what I'm saying because we have a special job. And that is the continuity of our people. That's our job. And he felt that strongly. He was a person who was loyal, not just to the West Side, not just to his friends. He was loyal to us. He was loyal to the temple, 50 years plus, a member of the temple. In love of cars. For him, everything was with the heart. I mean, think about it. He cared about things. And then he was in other businesses. I understand that, but he had a love of cars. He was creative. He understood the softer sides of life. He enjoyed the artwork that he created. Some of you are going like this, which means you've probably seen them or have them. And you may look upon those paintings and see something special. Not just because he's the one who made them, created them, because it was his vision. That's what it's about. He was indestructible. I did not remember when he had his lung removed. I sort of did when you told me this. Yes, you might. But he was a runner afterwards. Most people don't run with two lungs. He was running with one. He had a good sense of humor. He would love it if we would laugh. He was easygoing. Didn't expect too much from anybody else. He was generous, especially with his time and with his energy, to help others when they needed something. He was smart. Jeopardy smart, as you said. Being a fan of Jeopardy, I understand that. He did his crosswords until the last day of his life. He helped the two of you to have a happy home. And to have dreams that you didn't give up on because they couldn't afford it. They did everything they could to make your dreams come true. He and your mom. That's how special they were together. They made most of their modest and didn't care about that. That's not who he was. He was a proud vet in this country. He was open and liberal. I don't want to say this, but maybe he left now because he didn't want to worry about it. God, that's so right. I hope at any rate, that's who he was as a human being. And our job is to take all of those wonderful qualities of his life, think about them in light of who we were with him, and pass it on. That's what this day is about. I'm going to share with you just this very brief little poem. It's in our prayer book. I think it's so real. It tells us about what this moment is. The poet wrote, "There are stars up above. So far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. So it is with people that we love. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. stars that light up the darkest night. These are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways. I hope and I pray that each of us in our own way, remember Bob Dansky, his strength, his wisdom, his kindness, his love, his willingness to make it in his way. This little world of this. It is in that spirit then that we resolve to face our grief without self-pity, bravery and integrity, keeping before us forever the blessings that God conferred upon us. This life that he but lent to us for these decades too few. For our most precious goods are perishable. Let us resolve to honor our beloved dead, being so good to the living, so kindly, so understanding, so forgiving, so transcendent of pettiness. Our love for him we shall hearken to those who remain and meet us in our strength. Be through new relationships and new service to humanity. Make good our loss. Beauty of our own lives. Respect the nobleness mind of his toil. Thus the beauty of his life shall ever abide among us all as a living. God has given. God has taken away. Praise be the name of God. Now and forever. Let us all say together.
Presidents of the United States military, and a grateful nation, we present this flag as a token of gratitude for Dansky's faithful service to his country.
The rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember him. The blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember him. The opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember him. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, blueness in the sky, the heat of the sun, the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember him. We are weary and in need of strength. We will remember him. We are lost and sick at heart. We will remember him. We have joys we yearn to share. We will remember him. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we will remember him. We have achievements based on his. We will remember him. So long as we live, he too shall live. He now is a part of us. We will remember him. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher yatzar etchem b'tzalmo v'zan shekel etchem b'tuvo. V'hamit etchem b'din v'natah b'tovechem chai olam. Baruch atah Adonai Dayan. Amen. Praise you, O Lord our God, ruler of the universe. Forms us in the divine image. Nourishes and sustains us in your goodness. Causing all of us to die and planting immortal life within us. Praise you, O God, the judge of truth. Gibor le'olam Adonai Rav ve'Hoshea, v'chalkel chaim b'chesed, v'chayei kol b'rachamim rabim, somech noflim v'rofei cholim, v'matir asurim, v'kayim emunato l'ishei me'av. Eternal is your might, O God, all life is your gift. Great is your power to save. With love you sustain the living, with great compassion you give life to all. You send help to the falling and healing to the sick. You bring freedom to the captive and keep faith with those who sleep in the dust. Praise you, O God, who plants eternal life in us. Thou art in the dust, thou shalt return. Clay thou art, and the clay of the earth thou shalt return. It's considered in our tradition to be an act of love and kindness during the dead. So we would like to participate in this mitzvah. They step forward at this time.
Yes. You have room to run. So I can see.
The dust returns to the earth as it was. The spirit returns to God who gave it. It is only the house of the spirit which we have laid within the bosom of the earth. But the spirit itself cannot die. Here too our dear ones continue in loving remembrance, those to whom they were precious. Receive in mercy, O God, the soul of our beloved Robert Dansky. Grant him that everlasting peace which you have prepared for us in the world to come. Who no human eye has seen nor ear has heard, mind has compassed it. Still it is our sure inheritance and our everlasting portion. Now, I would ask you now, dear family, to please rise. We might recite together the words that have been hallowed by centuries of faith, that have been glorified in our tradition. Words. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Mirabal. Yalma Devrachirute, Yamlich Malchute, Chaye Chonu Vyomechu, Chaye de Chobet Yisrael, Bagala Uvisman Kari Vimu, Yehi Shemei Rabban Barach, Meolam Leon Meomaya, Yit Barach Vishtabach, Yit Bahar Vitamam Visasim, Yitadar Vitalev Yitalal, Shemei de Kucha Barichu, Elamin Kol Birchata Vishirata, Tushbachata Venetramata, Ran Bealma Beamer Amen. Shalom Araba Min Shemaya Bachayim. Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael Beamer Amen. Ose Shalom in Rama. Uya Se Shalom. Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael.
say menuchanecha tachat kanfei Ashchina im kedoshim udorim kezohar harakia mazir et nishmat Reuven and Yaakov asher shelach leolamo Harachamim Yastireu b'seiter kenafav V'yitur b'tur achayim et nishmato Nachalato Ve'yanuach V'shalom Al Mishkafo And Amen.
O God, full of compassion, eternal spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Robert Dansky, who has entered into eternity. God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence. Let his soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. Be thou his possession, his repose. Dear friends, the family has asked us to announce that they invite you all to share some time with them immediately following the service at South Lansing. 2586 South Lansing in Aurora. You probably all know where they've been. Can't remember numbers. The departed whom we now remember has been called unto the peace of life eternal. He shall still live on earth in the acts of goodness he has performed. In the hearts of those who will ever cherish his memory, we pray that the beauty of his life, loving benediction, the source of peace, send peace unto all you who mourn. May God comfort all the bereaved among us, among Israel, nations, and the families of earth. It's all so together. Lech ki shalach Adonai, go your way, for God has called you. Lech Adonai yeh imach. Go away and may God be with you. May your righteousness go before you. Oh God, see you. So say together.